Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. My name is Mike. I will be your GM for Mörk Borg, Rot Black Sludge. Mörk Borg is an OSR dungeon crawl game that has an aesthetic influenced by Nordic heavy metal. I do want to say I've never actually run this game before, so this is going to be a learning experience for at least me, and I think many of us. But this should be a lot of fun. I've been playing on the Gauntlet for about 2 years and GMing for about 6 months. But I do have a fair amount of experience of running online games, so I'm looking forward to this. Why don't we go around the table? I'll call on you as you in order of as you appear on my Zoom screen here. David, would you please introduce yourself? Oh, and before I go on, I'm sorry, my pronouns are he/him. David.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. My name is David, he/him pronouns. And this is the first time in probably a little over a year that I've played in a good old OSR game, so I'm looking forward to doing this. I've heard a lot about Mörk Borg, but it's always been in reference to the graphic design of the actual book and not the gameplay. So I'm curious to see how it plays in practice. I've been playing with the Gauntlet since April of this year, and I'm looking forward to playing.
Awesome, thank you. Jim?
Hey, I'm Jim Crocker. Folks, I use he/him pronouns. They, them is fine too. Folks that know me from outside the Gauntlet may know me because I used to be a retailer of role-playing games and sold them at conventions all up and down the East Coast and stuff back in the distant past when there used to actually be conventions that we could meet each other face-to-face. So now that there's no longer those, I'm no longer doing that, but still very much involved in gaming and hope to be involved in the industry in the future, just probably just running and playing and writing a whole lot more games than I used to. So I'm one of the co-organizers of this event. Really happy to be here. Mike and I have played together. I played with Lowell a bunch. It's also great to play with a couple of new players here. I'm really looking forward to this. So take it away.
Thanks, Jim. Lowell?
So my name's Lowell, pronouns he/him. I'm the Gauntlet community manager, and I wanted to play this because I love any game that uses yellow as a strong color and design element. I'm actually not joking about that. So I'm very, very curious about it. The only OSR I play with any significant time is Godbound, which I adore. So I'm looking forward to trying this out.
Thanks, Lowell. Cassidy?
I'm Cassidy, or just Cass for short. I go by he/him pronouns, but don't get bothered by them, they/them either. I'm a forever GM for my group, and the last long-term game that I ran was a 2-year game of Labyrinth Lord. So I'm like coming off of a long OSR sort of trip. So I'm really excited to be in the player seat for this one.
Fantastic. In the email, I did send a link to a character keeper. If folks could hop on over there. If you can let me know once everyone's on the character keeper. I just want to go over a few housekeeping things to start before we get into character generation. Okay, so first of all, we're a bunch of strangers, or mostly strangers, that are playing that are getting together to have fun playing a game over the internet. Safety is important whenever you're playing role-playing games. It's easy to get emotions on the line. It's easy to, and every one of us has a different set of life experiences, and things that may seem like no big deal at all to one person may be a very big deal to someone else. So we're going to be playing this game with a few safety tools in play, and this is here just because each of us individually is more important than this game. Again, we're here to have fun, and so safety tools are there to help us ensure that we are having fun and that we aren't going into places where any of us don't really want to go. So we're going to be using 3 tools. The first one is kind of the most basic, and that's called Open Door. And that means anyone can come and go as they please to this game. If you decide that this game isn't for you, that's absolutely fine. If you you want to check out and say, you know, this game just isn't for me. I'm going to go and do something else for my morning. That is absolutely 100% fine. If we hit something that, you know, you need to, or if something happens, you know, in the real world that you need to step away and deal with, let us know that you're stepping away and that you'll be able to come back when you can, and we'll just keep going. Come and go as you please. And anyone can call a break at any time. For breaks, I am planning to I'm planning to do a longish, you know, like 5 or 10 minute break at the halfway point, which would be about 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'll probably call shorter breaks on the hours. Probably the first break I'll probably be calling after we've gone over the safety tools, and once we've generated characters, I'll call a break. Then we'll come back and start playing for real. So that's Open Door. The next tool we're going to be playing with is called the X card. The X card is basically a pause. If someone invokes the X card, that means you're telling us that there's something going on in the game that we need to talk about. So you can say the phrase X card. The dice roller we're going to be using has an X card button. So if you click that, it's, you know, X card is going to show on everyone's screen. We're all on video here, so you could also, you know, make an X card, you know, make an X with your, you know, with your arms or with your fingers, and that's telling us that we need to pause. As a group, we're going to have a little chat, figure out like what it is that needs to be removed from the game. Don't need to tell us why. That's up to you. But we do need to know what, so that we can pause the game, have a discussion, take that element out of the game. We'll back up and we'll replay the scene without that element, and then we'll just keep going. Any questions about either the Open Door or the X card? Awesome. The third safety tool we're going to play with is called Lines and Veils. And that's a way, and this is a tool that we can use to let everyone know ahead of time that these are elements that are problematic that we just don't want to deal with in a game. So a line is a topic or a subject matter that just will not appear in the game. If something's lined, it's just not going to be there. I won't introduce it, players won't introduce it, it just won't be there. A veil is something that we can acknowledge that exists in the game. We may find evidence that it may have happened. You may encounter an NPC that might tell you that it happened in the past or that it is happening somewhere else, but it is not going to happen on camera. It's certainly not going to happen to the player characters. So veils are things that we will cut away from, will not focus on, or will fade to black. On the Safety and Resources tab, there's a list of common things that frequently get lined or veiled, and there's checkboxes. So if folks want to take a moment to look over the lines and veils, mark anything as a line or a veil, and it's also, and if you want to add other topics, and I see that a few people are doing that, and we'll take it from there. Everyone wants to take a few minutes to go over that. And when you're done, if you just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. We have lined, so the following things will not happen in the game. We've lined homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, sexual assault, torture, and dental horror. We're going to veil harm to animals, harm to children, consensual sexual content, and claustrophobia, or being buried alive. So, okay, awesome. Are there any more questions about safety tools? Fantastic. So there's two ways. So character creation. There's two ways we can do this. And I'll put it up to you. We can do a manual, do just like basic character creation from the rulebook, or we can use the Mörk Borg random character generator and get what you get, and if you get one that you like, and we'll fill out the character keeper and go from there.
Not gonna lie, I've just been clicking through reading their bananas descriptions of like backgrounds and stuff like that, and it's far more interesting than anything I could come up with on the fly at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning. So I'm real happy to have us, generate characters that way and use those. Maybe with a discussion with each other so that we don't overlap too much in terms of, because definitely I've seen some of them repeat and stuff like that, but yeah.
So yeah, the character generator is from the from the list from the rule book, and it's there's basically only it's D6 tables, so there's basically only six choices on 6 different fields. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of repeat, but there's only 4 players, so I think we can probably come up with things that are varied. So there is a link. So I'm sorry, go on.
The fact that it starts with the like generate a new character is not generate a new character. It's kill this character and then get another one that's great.
So there is a link on the Safety and Resources tab to Skomberther, the Mörk Borg character generator. So if folks want to like click on that and see what you see what you get, and basically keep clicking until you get something that you like. And I'm going to invoke Open Door for myself. If folks want to take a few minutes to like click through until you get a character that you like, I need to step away. I'll be back in like a minute or two. So while you folks are clicking through and deciding your character options, one thing I just want to I'll briefly go over my understanding of the rules. Again, this is the first time I've run this game. Resolution system looks more. I mean, it looks more or less pretty standard OSR. It's a D20 you want to roll high system, like akin to like OGL games. It's a D20 plus an ability modifier, and you're trying to hit a target number. And if you hit or exceed the target number, that's a success. If you miss that number, that's going to be a failure. If you get a natural 20, that's going to be a critical. If you get a natural 1, that's going to be a fumble. And I get to roll on the way cool and way dangerous critical hit or critical fumble chart. Unlike a lot of the games that I play these days, I will actually be rolling dice too.
Now, is this a system where we would be discouraged from having the same class? I clicked on the character generator, and I just came up with a class that mirrors one that we've already got. Would it be a good idea to click until I have something that's different from that, or does that make a difference?
This is it's a pretty rules light system. I don't necessarily think that balanced party is going to be super vital to this game. So basically find one that looks like it's going to be fun for you to play. If we've got what's the name of the character class? It's the one with the bite attack.
Fanged Deserter.
I realized I accidentally just muted myself. Yes, the Fanged Deserter. That one looked like an awful lot of fun. So, so powers are basically magic spells. You invoke those by reading scrolls, and you can use that a number of times. So if you have a power, you can use that a number of times. So you basically roll a d4 plus 1, and that's the number of times you can use it per day. Attempting to invoke a scroll is a test. I think there's a DC on that. Yeah, it's a DR12 presence test in order to invoke a power. If you fail, it doesn't invoke, although it doesn't use the power doesn't invoke. You can't use it for an hour, but it doesn't count. So you can use it again. Oops. Oh, looks like. Yeah, looks like this character keeper has a few. Oh, okay. Looks like you fixed it. I haven't really played with this character keeper much before.
Sure. When you cut and paste, you should paste it into the formula bar, because if you paste it directly into the cell, it gets confused about how it what the formatting is.
Oh, someone has the Book of Boiling Blood. Excellent.
Jim, what did you say was the copy paste way to keep from breaking it?
Put it into the formula bar on the top instead of directly into the cell. And then it will keep the formatting of the cell instead of imposing it over into the from wherever you copied it from.
So I did put a link to a shared dice roller for the system Roll for Your Party. That's a shared dice roller that I've used pretty extensively in the past, although it's getting kind of wonky these days. I'm happy to use a different dice roller if people would prefer a different one.
I quite like Roll Dice with Friends because it's super simple and has proven to be very, very stable and quick.
I haven't used it before, but I'm willing to give that a try.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Awesome. Yeah, let me get a table up. Okay, there's a link to roll dice with friends table. That's pretty cool. I like it. And are people still putting their characters together? Looks like you are.
You have to appreciate the hit point swing of 3, 1, 1, 8 amongst the characters there.
That's the most OSR thing we've got going on here, I think. Yeah, I had that experience of like, oh, that description is awesome. Oh, that's cool. I love that thing. I've got a femur for a weapon. I've got 1 hit point. Whatever. It just clicked to roll another character.
So those just so that we're not like churning through characters. I know it's a very OSR to be an adventurer that walks into a dungeon with 1 hit point. Those of you who have 1 hit point, if you want to roll, if you want to re-roll your hit points, cool. You can do it once, and then you gotta. So if you roll another 1, well, hey, that's an OSR game.
Cool. Mike, can you drop the link for the Dice with Friends room into chat?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's also on the, there's also a link on the safety and resources tag. There's a link to Dice Roller. But it's now in the chat window.
And for anyone that hasn't used this before, up in the upper left-hand corner, there's going to be a thing that says Player Dallas Dice Roller, which could be a little confusing the first time you get in there. That's their just generic name that they drop in there. If you put your name, your character name or whatever, then whenever you roll, we'll all see your character name and then the results of your roll.
So let's see. So Harmug and Grin looks like you only had 1 hit point. So the Gutterborn Scum, your hit points are your toughness score plus 1d6.
So I just rolled a 3. My toughness is 0. So,
okay, so you have 3 hit
so
points.
I'll reset to 3. I like that better.
And we've got an Esoteric Hermit. Esoteric Hermit, your let's see, where are the points for Esoteric Hermit? There we are. The downside of a book that says beautiful as Mörk Borg is that sometimes they definitely have chosen aesthetics over ease of finding information, which honestly is fine. So the Esoteric Hermit is your toughness score plus 1d4. So if you want to re-roll your hit points.
All right, so I've got toughness -1. 2.
All right, well that's better than that. You now have twice as many hit points.
And I've got a small but vicious dog with more than twice as much as me, so that'll be my tank.
That's awesome. Let's see. Just looking to see who has powers. Oh, and Harmug, you also begin with lockpicks because of your filthy fingersmith ability. You can put that on equipment if you'd like. You've got a femur for a weapon. I love it.
That's so hardcore. I love that.
It looks like it's pretty much just Grin who is going to have a power. At least at this point, it's possible that. So why don't everyone just go ahead and roll a d4 plus 1? That's the number of times you can use a power per day. You may pick up. It's possible to pick up scrolls during the adventure. I think there's a couple that show up.
Yeah, I believe I even start with one.
Yeah, you start with one. You start with Enochian syntax.
So 5 power uses per day for me.
Okay. And again, to use that, you need to use your scroll. You need to make a power check, which is a DR12 presence check. Folks are done with your characters. Give me a thumbs up. But if you're still working, that's cool too. And I printed out a copy of the adventure so I can actually write on it. I don't want to write in that way cool art book. We're ready to proceed, or are we still working? Awesome. Let's go right to left to introduce us to our characters, and then I will go through the intro. Lowell, you are first up, so why don't you tell us about Graft?
So I'm Graft, and I am a wretched royal. I leave the wretched out when I explain it, but this is merely the title is given to me. There's been some disappointments in my life, but I have pushed forward, and I am gifted with the horn of the Schweigschig Lords, which I can blow to aid all of us. And I've a blade of my ancestors. Please do not listen to its murmurs and whisperings. It is a big fat liar. Such, I wear mail, which protects me quite well. Though I do have a bit of a cough, so my toughness is not as good as one might expect. Also, please do not ask me to do anything athletic at any point in the mail. So that is who I am. But other than that, I'm a royal. I do what royal things do in here. I'm done.
Fantastic. Oh, one quick little housekeeping thing.
Yes.
If folks could please change their name on the on your Zoom to include your character name and your include your character name and then put your actual name in parentheses after that. And Jim, why don't you tell us about Harmog?
Harmog is a like kind of like folded up, compact little person with like a mass of scraggly hair, just kind of dark, lanky, that covers most of their face so that you can only see a single eye. And they're like so you know, like that mass of stringy hair obscures their features to the extent, and it is long and tangly, and perhaps you might see a few things moving in it occasionally if you catch it from the right angle. It is impossible to tell their gender. It is difficult to tell their age, other than that none of that hair seems to be gray yet, so they're probably younger. And they tend to keep to themselves. They will, if engaged in conversation, will absolutely, you know, will stutter their way through whatever conversation it is that you're having with them. But if you are finding yourself with someone who won't ask questions about the job that you're going on, who will happily cut throats, get you into places where you're not supposed to be, and then you know, retreat with whatever loot it is that you can lay your hands on. Harmug is the person for the job. They the only thing they will not do, and steadfastly refuse to do, and will fight you if you try to get them to do it, is an honest day's work.
I love it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Kass, would you tell us about Grin?
Yeah. So Grin is a cup of black coffee. He is bitter. He's mysterious and not particularly kind, but some people warm up to him. It's sort of an acquired taste. He is a hermit who's lived on the outskirts, away from civilization, in a cave painted with images of the stars after some horrible thing reached out to him in a crypt where he lay dying. And now he's ventured forth from the cave with his trusty dog/emergency ration Barabbas. He's also a horrible coward, but despite that, he has a sword and claims to know how to use it.
Fantastic. And David, can you tell us about Theros?
Yeah, so with Theros, if I had to describe this guy in 3 words, I would say big Neanderthal energy. He is this bestial hulk of a person, but he's not trained in any particular weapon. He just has a big maw of teeth that have been filed down to these aggressively pointy tusks. Some say that that's because he was a member, or perhaps an exploited member, of a cult at one point, but he is a very skittish, paranoid guy who doesn't really talk about that too much, so it's really all up to speculation. But because of that kind of paranoid presentation, he's really a very gentle guy at heart. He's just a gentle giant who will tear your throat out with his teeth if he must. Not a particularly smart fellow, extraordinarily clumsy. Please, 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 like we said before, don't ask him to do anything athletic.
A fantastic motley crew. So, we have our characters. We've gone over safety tools. I think I would like to call a short break. Let's take 5 minutes, folks. I've got 47 after, so yeah. Back in 5 minutes.
Got my favorite gamer shirt on. Start with Earth. That's the best advice for any game.
I love it. It's kind of chilly today, so I'm actually wearing my I'm wearing my Dungeon World shirt right now, but it's under both a crew neck sweater and a collared shirt. So
yeah. That's cool.
But,
That's next to your heart where it belongs.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my I'm in my makeshift home office right now, which is in a we call it the sunroom, but in the winter it's kind of the cold room because it's got a lot of windows that aren't terribly well insulated because I live in a 100-year-old house. So when it's 45 degrees out, like it is right now, it gets a little chilly. Granted, I haven't dropped the storm windows yet. Looks like we're still waiting for everyone to return.
Yeah, you're like 15 degrees lower than where we are downstate here. It's a nice modest 60 outside where I am here in the Hudson Valley. So
got it. Yeah. The high today is supposed to be 48. But hey, it's October in central New York. We need to pick a whole lot of tomatoes. We're supposed to get after this game is over, I need to go out to my garden and pick a whole lot of tomatoes. We're supposed to get a hard frost tonight. Alrighty then. I think we are all back. You are all in. Hold on, grab the name of the castle. You are all rotting in the dungeon of the palace of the Shadow King. Justly or unjustly, you have been charged with heresy, and you are in a dank, filthy cell awaiting your execution. You've lost all track of time. There's no windows. There are no windows down here. There are no light. Even if there were windows, what light there is, there's very little light in the world because, as all know, the world is ending. The feeble red sunlight barely illuminates. Crops are generally failing, and the undead armies from the south march relentlessly north. You are living in the end of days. You don't know how long you've been down here. There's no way to mark time. Meals come irregularly. You all, each of you individually, doesn't have. I mean, each of you individually, and if this were a TV show, I'd be intercutting between them, as basically the same thing happens to each of you. You hear the sound of someone on the other side of your cell door, the jingle of keys, the sound of the lock unlocking, and the door swinging open on creaky, heavy hinges. A figure stands there in like dark robes, face obscured by a cowl. You can't really look directly at them because this figure is holding a torch, and you haven't seen bright light in days, weeks. Who can tell? So you blink at the pain of the light sears your eyes. The figure says, "We have a proposition for you. I have a job. The Shadow King requests that you go on a mission that, well, no one who is not condemned to die would be fool enough to accept. Conduct this job in return, and you shall go free. All of the charges shall be dropped. Otherwise, well, I can close this door. What say you?"
You make a compelling case. I accept your kind offer.
Green turns to his dog, Barabbas, and ushers him out of the cell. "Come on, you aren't dinner yet. We'll get another day out of this."
I, for my part, probably didn't hear him. I was chewing on a bone and trying to keep it from Barnabas the dog. I saw him hungrily eyeing my bone. No one else is going to get my bone. It's mine, damn it. But if everyone else is getting up, I suppose I will go with them.
Yes, yes. Come along, Ratkin. Come on.
Yeah, and Harmonic just kind of, like enough hair falls away that you can see one eye. And they just grumble and hold out their hands so that the shackles can be removed.
So the hooded figure gestures, and a couple of guards come in, and they gruffly unlock your unlock your shackles. The seer looks you. The seer looks you, or the. And at this point, now you can tell that this hooded figure, now that you can actually see him a little better, those of you who know really much of anything about the world, this is a seer. They are mystically endowed sort of priests, sort of heralds of the Shadow King. Allegedly, they can see into the future and give fortunes. But yes, they all work directly for the Shadow King, who is the ruler of this dying land. The figure looks you up and down, and you can't really see it. You can't see this figure's face. It's cloaked in the shadow of their cowl. You can't tell whether it's a man or a woman. The voice is kind of, it's hard to tell. The figure looks you up and down and says, "Yes, you must let us get you prepared for this work we have for you." The figure then goes down the corridor and gestures, and two more guards come into the room, and they basically form a phalanx around you and escort you down the corridors to a place where you can clean yourselves up a bit with not the cleanest of water, but it's better than nothing. They then lead you into another room where your possessions had been stored, so you can take back your possessions as per your initial gear list. You're brought up some winding stairs to a to a small chamber where the seer is sitting. I think you have made a wise choice, accepting my offer. The Shadow King's one true heir is missing. Without an heir, the Shadow King will eventually be forced to hand his crown to his imbecile brother. And that would not go well for the kingdom, especially seeing as the armies of the dead march ever closer. So find the prince, bring him back discreetly. Freedom and life will be yours, plus a reward to get you back on your feet. It is believed that Prince Alvin is imprisoned in an infamous underground locale, a place no sane free man would go. It is a place called the Accursed Den. We can escort you there. We can escort you. We can bring you to the outskirts of the Accursed Den. But getting in, finding Prince Alvin, and getting out is going to be up to you. Bring him back, you go free. If you attempt to flee, I will find you.
Look, when we find him, he is not going to know us for your agents. We will need some token from you to prove to him that we are who we say we are, so that he will come with us. Otherwise, perhaps he may do himself harm to avoid us.
Very well. I can write up a writ. that you can present as credentials.
And I look very dubious, like at the thought of a writ, and I kind of cast my glance over at Graft, and I say, "Can you read this?"
Yes, of course I can read this.
That should
So
do then.
I mouth the words as I read it, though.
The seer snaps his fingers, and a clerk appears. He whispers something to the clerk, and the clerk scurries off.
There is a matter traditionally on such heroic adventures with a stalwart group of comrades and a dog. We are provided with a going away meal so that we are in our best and finest fit form.
Yes, of course, that can be arranged.
Yes.
Any of you want to ask any questions of your quest giver?
Oh yeah. Oh, seer, your kind are able to see into the future, it is said. So I can only imagine that you know that we'll all come back from this all right, yes? Right?
I can glimpse the. As a seer, yes, we can glimpse snatches of the future from time to time. This is, well, fortune indicated that you were the ones that we should send out. However, the success or failure of your mission is yet to be determined. I have seen both.
Well,
I could perhaps look into the future to see what you may find, if you would like.
What rotten rapscallions went off with the prince then? Do we know what horrible things await us in the dark?
The seer, the seer leans back in his chair and interlaces his fingers and says, "That has been unclear to us, but let me look into the future." I will ask, since you asked the question, Kass, would you roll a D8?
So, player question while Kass is rolling. If I just nibble a couple of bites of this food and then carefully wrap the rest of it up, then slide it up my sleeve, does that give me an extra day's worth of rations?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I was going to say yes. As this conversation is going, like food is brought in, and that clerk that ran out, that came in and came out, comes back with a scroll that's got a wax seal on it.
Cool. I have added Writ from the Shadow Seer to my equipment.
I rolled a 7.
Fantastic. So the seer was leaning back, like staring off into space, or so you would imagine, because again, you can't really see much more than the bottom of this figure's clean shaven chin. Then leans forward and says, I fear Prince Alban may be unwilling to leave.
Just to be clear, he needs to be returned alive, but not necessarily unharmed, yes?
He needs to be returned alive for your mission to be successful, yeah.
Oh, well, that simplifies things significantly.
Don't be so crass, Harmug. Boys love dogs. Barabbas here will win him over, I'm sure. Eat up, dog. We need to fatten you up in case we need the rations.
So the seer looks off into the distance again and attempts to look into the mists of the future and past. Would someone else also roll a d8? It doesn't really matter who. Jim, would you roll a d, or Lowell just unmuted himself. Would you like to do it?
I can roll the d8.
Go for it.
All
4.
right.
There we go. 4. Roll the 4.
Oh,
4.
okay, there we
Okay,
go.
cool. He suddenly snaps forward. Cannibals! They feast upon their own kind. You must be cautious.
We return the prince alive, even if he's become a cannibal.
We will train that out of him.
Fair enough.
And he smiles.
My ears perk up at the mention of cannibals, and I make mention of what savage, bestial creatures they are as I bite a bone in half.
I become ever more optimistic.
So we're going to jump cut. So the four of you are, getting out of a much finer form of transportation than you've ever been in before. The four of you get out of a royal coach, that was that was being drawn by two black horses. You step out of the coach. You were led down this road that got rougher and rougher, to the point where it looks like the coachman says, "Oh, well, that's as far as I can take you. Place is up the road. There's a open there. You'll find an opening with stairs that lead down into the earth. About a mile from here. This is as far as I can take you. It's too dangerous to bring horses that close." You then exit the coach, and he turns around and rides away.
Grin spits on the ground and looks back and says, "Well, glad the horses are safe then."
About what time of day is it? I'm just trying to get a sense for lighting.
Sure, it's morning. Although the sign, one of the signs that the world is ending is that that some number of years ago the sun has turned dim. It started to turn. It went from being like bright yellow to orange to now it's just kind of like dull red color. It's larger in the sky than it ever had been, but it's much dimmer, casting everything in kind of a dull like dull red tones. So yeah, I'd say it's morning, although the light level is more akin to that of twilight.
I will. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the path leads through these half dead into this half dead forest of blighted trees.
For my part, I will, lace up my boots and pull them tight by getting a bit of shoestring in my mouth and kind of pulling at it like a dog, playing tug of war. And all right, well, I'm not going in there first. Which one of you is?
I look meaningfully at the dog.
Arbus, my faithful hound, lead the way.
Okay, so
I will follow the dog.
Ah, good to grow accustomed to your place, nobleman.
I touch my sword and I no, calm down. Calm down. It's okay. Just calm. Yes. How droll.
okay, so you all head down the path, and yeah, it's about and again you were told it was about a mile away. So about a half an hour later, you come to a clearing. There's a rock outcropping that comes up out of the blighted earth. There's there's a natural cave opening in there. As you approach, there are spears that are stuck at the perimeter of this clearing, and on the end of every spear is a rotting severed human head.
Oh shit! I'm gonna just like walk right up to the first one and just grab that spear and wrench it out of the earth, and kind of like wipe the head off of it on the ground. And now I have a spear.
Yeah, you have a spear. You can add it to your equipment list.
What's a spear in terms of equipment? In terms of being a weapon? It's probably a crappy spear.
I was gonna say it's not a great spear. Let me check the weapons table just to make sure I'm in the right ballpark.
It's like a femur, but with reach.
Oh, I think you're muted.
I am indeed. Thank you. So yeah, it's a spear is spear's going to be D6.
Nice.
And it's a spear, so you can throw it.
Yep. Excellent. And so then I kind of like have to look at it, shrug, and then kind of using it as a like as a walking stick. I'm just going to walk along the row of severed heads, and just just kind of inspect them. Any stray like earrings or visible gold teeth or anything like that as I walk along the row of severed heads?
No, actually, you do see signs that maybe there had been an earring there that was ripped out. There's a few. There's several that are missing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I kind of poke the spear in to like kind of press the bottom jaw down and just expressions of frustration as I walk down through the end.
You're thinking that whether it was before or after that these poor unfortunate souls were slain and decapitated, that someone's already done that.
And just curious, cleanly decapitated or messily decapitated, or like a variety of methods?
Yeah, I'm going to say it was clearly done with an axe, but maybe not the sharpest axe, and maybe not the sharpest axe, and maybe not the. Let's just say that it was not necessarily a particularly skilled headsman. Looks like a couple of them. Looks like a couple of the heads. Looks like it took 2, possibly 3
a few missing missing like a hunk of the bottom jaw. Some of them with a little bit of the top of the clavicle or something like that. Yeah, it's just not much pride of workmanship here.
This is not done by a professional executioner.
I turn and I say, not terribly professional job with these. Although they were thorough,
Yeah, you're pretty sure if you're pretty sure that the headsman that was going to execute all of you would probably have done a much better job.
Yeah, no, that's the royal executioners they get a lot of practice. So
Is the head that you took off of that spear, is it just lying on the ground by chance? I would like to apishly lope over to it, sniff it a couple times to make sure it's good, and then take it by the hair and tie it around my waist just in case I need it for later.
Okay, you may add severed head to your equipment list.
Good.
I will try to find the cleanest of these spears we can shake these poor devils' heads off of and break them into some lengths so that if we have to try and makeshift some torches later on, we can do that. Adventuring 101. Come on. Jesus. Yes.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like anyone have torches. I'm just going to say for the sake of argument that everyone can have a torch or two if you'd like.
Made from my spears because I'm brilliant. Yes, clever plan.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, everyone take a couple of spears or torches rather. Awesome. So, are you heading across the clearing to the cave opening? Or are you going to scout around? What do you folks want to do?
Turn to Grin. It is Grin, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we approach the mouth of this cave / stairs / certain doom, does your dog smell anything particular?
Well, despite his loyalty, I haven't taught him to speak just yet. But we'll see how he reacts to going up to the hole, I suppose. Barabbas, to the hole!
Maybe we'll get a better name than the hole later, but let's proceed.
Okay, as you enter the clearing, again the blood red sun is just coming above the tops of the trees, and it's bathing this area in the eerie blood red light that passes for sunlight these days. I don't know if any of you were old enough to remember the days when the sun burned brightly and the skies allegedly were blue, but those days are long past. We've only heard stories. As you approach the cave entrance, you all hear you hear the sudden sound of barking and snarling as a pair of mangy black mongrels run out of the cave opening and make a beeline right at you. They do not look friendly. Oh, let's see. Who hasn't thrown dice yet? So everyone should roll a d6 and add your agility.
So can I pause just for a moment?
Yeah.
I don't want to get in a situation where we got to kill dogs.
Oh, okay.
We've got that veil on violence towards domestic animals.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry, no problem. Would
if they're make them some kind of monsters, if they're big cockroaches or something weird and mutated, but like describing them as like starving suffering dogs is like
you are
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Jim. And my apologies. My apologies for forgetting. I was just I was running the encounter. From the module, and
it's all good. That's why we have those lines and veils, is so that we
Yeah.
can have these discussions
yeah,
about
absolutely.
it. So,
Thank you for bringing that up, and my apologies for not double checking. Yeah. So these so a pair. So you hear this the sound of like hissing and scrabbling, and erupting out of the cave mouth are a pair of like extraordinarily ugly, like four-eyed, half lizard, they're kind of like half lizard, half insect beasts. They're running on, they're scaly. They've got horns. They've got they look like they look almost they're scaly like lizards, but it's got like pincer mandibles like a giant beetle. And they rush forward to attack. So it is time to roll for initiative. God, I haven't said that in forever. So initiative goes. So first of all, I will roll a d6 to see which side goes first. Four, the player characters go first. And to determine order, everyone please roll a d6 plus your agility.
So I've got an 8 in total.
Okay.
I'm at 5.
I am 0.
Okay.
Have to show me up, do you? All right.
So Grin, you got an 8. You may go first. So the way attack. So the GM doesn't actually roll dice for the most part in combat. So when it's your turn, you need to make a DR. So if you're attacking with melee, if you're attacking in melee, it's a DR12 strength check. If you are also engaged in melee when it's the monster's turn to attack, you make a DR12 defense check, which is a DR12 agility. So basically, so the agility check is basically do you avoid the monster's counterattack? And if you're taking a ranged attack, that'll be a DR12 presence check. If you have armor, armor reduces the damage that it does. Unless you're wearing heavy armor, which increases the DR, which basically gives you a bonus to your defense roll. But armor mostly reduces damage by it'll generally say minus something, like minus a D4 or minus a D2. So so if the monster hits, your armor will reduce its damage by that much. Could potentially reducing it to 0. So you have initiative. What does Grin do to these weird bug lizards?
Yeah. So for Barabbas the dog, would attacking via him be like my action, or is he separate from Grin?
That's a good question. I'll say if the other players agree, I'd say that could count as a second action, like letting it go twice. Okay, cool. I was just, sometimes some players might object to that, in which case I could say that commanding the dog would be your action.
Yep. That's why I thought it would be useful to ask, because I could certainly see it going either way.
Why don't we do it this way? Commanding the dog to attack will be your action, but and it'll basically keep doing that until you take an action to do something else.
Great. Okay, cool. So Grin wincing as these horrible reptile insect creatures come hurtling out of the cave, shields his eyes and points and says, "Barabbas, get them!"
Okay, so so I guess Barabbas needs to make a DR12 strength check. Actually, yeah. I'm just going to say it's got stats. I'm going to say it's probably just got stats +0 on everything. So roll a d20.
Yeah, that lines up with the creature's attack with no modifier bit in the cheat sheet.
Yep.
All right, 16.
Okay. Yeah, it has done some damage. So go ahead and roll Barabbas's bite damage.
All right, he has a d4, and we got a 2.
Okay. Yeah, it's Barabbas tears right into it. What does that does some damage to injure the bug lizard? Want to tell us what that looks like?
Yeah, so Barabbas is, he's small, but he's vicious. He doesn't have a lot of weight to throw behind him, but he's got good neck muscles. So he chomps down on one of the thing's legs and just tears one leg right out from under it. And he's harassing it. He's nipping around its other legs and trying to really get entangled with it.
Awesome. Okay, Barabbas Barabbas is engaged in melee with one of these bug lizards. Let's see. Someone got an 8. Who is the next person? I think Harmug might be next.
Yeah, I had a 5. So, that one visible eye kind of widens at these things coming out there. And Harmug kind of scurries back around to, you said there's like an outcropping that kind of sticks up in front of the thing here. So I'm going to kind of scurry around to get on top of that and, kind of track one of them until it looks like it's going to, kind of try and get around behind Barnabas and just huck that spear at it.
Okay. Ranged attack. So go ahead and make a DR12 presence check.
Yeah, it's a DR12 presence, but because I am stealthy, all my presence and agility checks have the DR reduced by 2. So that is just a 10 for me because I have practiced like lying in wait and ambushing in this manner. So, I kind of squint and lead it by a step and there goes the spear. Let's see how this works here. D20. That is a 13. Spear chunks into it.
Awesome. You so this I might have missed. So you're attacking the one that's fighting Barnabas or the other one?
Yes, yeah, the one that's fighting Barnabas. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you hit. Why don't you tell us what it looks like? Oh, and before we do, why don't you roll damage on that?
Yeah, I got 2 damage to it.
Okay, awesome. It's not dead, but it's definitely wounded. Why don't you tell us what that looks like?
Yeah, I think like I huck the spear, and it just like chunks a big gash across its back. As Barnabas is worrying at that other leg, and is are these things that oh no, I guess we're good. So yeah, so I say, oh, and I growl at Graft. Now's the time to show us if that sword can do anything but except talk.
Fantastic. I'm sorry. Who was? So we had a 1 and a 0. Who had the 1?
That would be me. I will draw my blade out lazily, and I will step to the other cockroach and I will take a swing at it. Let's see.
So that will be a DR12 strength check.
So that will be a 15.
Nice. That is a solid hit. Roll your damage.
I do 7 points of damage to this thing.
Fantastic. It is not quite dead, but you have dealt it a mortal wound. Why don't you tell us what that looks like?
I've struck it through the sort of head down into the body of it, and I draw back my blade with a kind of a, well, of course it's dead now, and then I'm a little shocked that it is still moving. And I take a hurried step back.
All right, and I think that left Theris to go.
To clarify, I have 2 wounded creatures, I believe.
Yep.
No one's dead at this point. So what will happen then is I'll see the insectoid limbs on these creatures, and my mouth begins watering. I love to eat bugs, and these are the biggest bugs I've ever seen. And to make matters even worse, this dog is about to show me up. I think I have a competition with this dog. We both compete for the same bones. So I'm going to apishly lope over to the creature that the dog, Barabbas, I think his name is, and begin to chomp on it and just get a mouthful of this thing.
Just kind of get down on all fours so you can, because these things are only, or do you lean over, or like how do you do this?
I imagine that I run on 2 legs, but I'm hunched over and my arms are outstretched in front of me.
Awesome.
And then it's kind of a pounce attack.
Got it. Yeah, go ahead and make a strength check. DR12.
Okay. If it's the bite attack, that's DR10.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Make a DR10 check.
So I'm rolling DR10, but at a -1. Oh, that is a 6.
Oh, got it. So there's a 1 to 2 chance that the monster may get a free attack on you. I rolled a 2. Okay, so so you lean in to try to bite it, but it's even though it's struggling with the dog, it sees you coming and it snaps its mandibles right like at, it pulls itself away and snaps its mandibles at you. Please make a defense check. That's going to be an agility check. Looks because you are clumsy that the DR is going to be 14.
A 14 with a -1. That is a 5.
Okay. Yeah, it bit you. Ooh. Bit you for 4 points of damage. Do you have armor?
I do not.
Okay.
All right. That did not go as planned. Very well.
It is the monster's turn. It is the monster's turn. I think the one that's fighting the dog is going to attack the dog. So, Kass, would you please make a defense check for Barnabas?
Right,
So
here we go.
it's going to be an agility check of DR12 with no bonus.
12 exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So it goes to try to bite. It goes to try to bite the dog, but your attack dog saw this coming and is able to scurry away at the last moment. The other one that Graft thought was Graf thought was dead, but wasn't. It it twitches, but then it just lunges at him. Tries to take a chunk out of your leg. Would you please make a DR12 defense check? That'll be agility. Nice.
That is a 16. I handily step aside from it.
Okay. New round. I don't want to make everyone roll initiative again, so let's just return to the order. Who had the 8? Was that okay? You can go. You can go. So your dog can go, and you can take an action now as well.
All right. So let's see. I guess so. Grin's a coward, but he's got a sword for a reason. He's gonna try to run in there and help his dog. So let's see. Oh boy, I've got strength -3, so I'm gonna be ineffective, but I'm really riled up, you know.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, make it. It's a DR12 combat check.
All right. So only an 11 after the.
Only an 11.
penalty.
Okay. Yeah, the even though it's on its even though it's on its last legs at this point, the bug lizard manages to evade your blow. And how about your dog?
All right, Paparino. 20.
Ooh, that is a critical hit.
That dog is dynamite.
So this is going to do double. So this is going to do double damage. And you get an immediate free attack. So go ahead and roll some damage. This is probably going to kill the bug lizard. So roll the damage and double it.
Okay, cool. All right, 8 max damage.
Okay, your dog has killed this lizard, this bug lizard. What does it do? What does that look like?
So while Grin is running in and trying to feebly poke at this thing, Barnabas seems to get the cue that he's doing a good job and doing much better than Grin is, and so riled up by all the ichor and loud noises, Barnabas just like opens wide and chomps down on this thing's head and just shakes. And so
Ed, that's awesome. And I was going to say, and the head comes right off.
Oh yeah. Mirroring that line of spears out there, there's now a poorly yanked off bug head that the dog just turns aside and starts crunching on.
Nice. Fantastic. I misread that. You get the free attack on a crit defense roll. So awesome. So yes, your dog has slain one of the bug lizards. And I think that goes back to Harmug.
Yeah. I am going to scuttle down off of my rock. And kind of step back and kind of do one of these to Graf, finish it off. And if there are any of the spears still left, I will say have to rearm and scuttle over and pull a spear, whatever, the crappiest spear that no one wanted to take, pull that one out of the ground.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna take a moment because that was way over on the other side of this clearing. So
yeah, unfortunately, the requirement to get another spear means I can't rush into the fight right now. So
well, there you go. I mean, it's only fair.
So I mean, I don't have a magical sword, so
I
think that is back to Graf. I think that's back to Graf.
I'm going to give you a magical sword here in just a minute, right through the back. I will take that swing. And once again, I land the blow.
That will kill it. Why don't you, like, regardless of what you roll, that will kill it because it only had 1 hit point left. So why don't you tell us what this looks like?
I'm mad. So it's more that my eyes are on graft as I just kind of into this thing, kind of imagining the sword going into his spine as I drive it into him. And then I say, Theris, you okay?
I look. I sort of snap out of a reverie. I've been spending the last several seconds staring incredibly enviously at the dog and his powerful jowls. And then I kind of come to and I say, what? Yes, of course I am. And I only then realize that there is like blood pouring from these 2 puncture wounds in my chest where this thing's mandibles stuck into me. Of course I'm fine. I will reach into my pack and take out my life elixir and put back a dose of it to heal 1d6, I think.
Okay.
All of us stare
Good.
greedily as the life elixir comes out of your pocket. We're all like,
That's a 5, thank goodness.
Okay. I was going to have you make a roll to see if this wound was infected, but the life elixir would clear that. So
Oh, sure.
awesome. So
and
that's go on.
I was going to say I will also, looking at the, crumpled bodies before us, say that this is going to be a harder job than I expected, and I wasn't hoping to have to do this, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and I will reach into my pack and take out my crumpled monster mask and don it. I envision this as being kind of 1/2 sort of like Japanese Hanya mask, kind of like an Oni sort of look, and 1/2 traditional Krampus mask with these large segmented horns that kind of come up off of it. And it is cut off at the face here so that you have the mask from up here, but it still reveals my jaw with my serrated teeth, frighteningly, bared before my enemies. And so I'll be wearing that for the remainder of the scenario.
Fantastic. Okay, that's the end of the encounter. I am going to invoke Open Door again because I had 3 cups of coffee this morning. Let's take a 2-minute break and we will return. Alrighty. So there's this cave opening. I take it you. So you enter the cave and you descend, and you descend into the earth. So it looks like it was a natural cave opening, but it was a short, shallow cave, and it looks like a staircase has been like carved into the bedrock as it goes down, down, down. It is lit. There are torch sconces on the walls periodically, and some of the torches are even burning. So there is feeble light throughout. Descends, hard to say. Maybe about 50, 100 feet. Opens up into again. It kind of looks like a half natural cave, half worked stone. The air is stale. There is a small stream of water that comes out of the hole, out of like looks like a natural hole in the western wall, and it flows across the room and into another much smaller opening on the other side. These openings are probably maybe 2.5 feet roughly in diameter. They're broader than they are tall, and it's not a very big stream. You can easily just step right over it. Oddly, there are a number of like black butterflies that are like fluttering right above the water as it gurgles along. On the far end of this room, where it transitions from being a natural cave to being worked, there are 2 heavy iron-banded wooden doors. They're both on the northern wall. One's on the eastern side, one's on the western side. Both doors are ajar. You can hear the faint sound of violin music. Someone playing a mournful violin, coming from the direction of the doors. More so the one on the western wall. What do you do?
I'm hard-pressed to imagine how we make this slightly more ominous, given the violin music and the black butterflies. I suspect that these butterflies are not what they appear, as I state the obvious.
I'd like to pluck one of them out of the air.
I'm very excited that Harmug is going to step forward to deal with the butterflies, because I was about to draw my bow. Now I don't have to waste an arrow.
Okay, you pluck one out of the air. I think that is going to be an agility test. Let's call that a normal agility test. That'll be a DR12.
So 10 for me because
10
I
for you.
have my swift fingers that I
Right.
have. So let's see. That is a 20.
Awesome. You just definitely pluck one out of the air, and if you want to say that you pluck another one out of the air, you may.
No, what I would like is to pluck it out of the air in such a manner that like I get it while it's flying, and I have like its 2 wings like pressed together like this, as its body is, whatever, its legs are kicking or whatever, and it's trying to flap its wings, but it can't. But I've got it alive so
Awesome.
that we can carefully examine it, right? And I'm kind of holding it like this. I walk up to the others and I, kind of display it to them.
Maybe don't wave that in front of Theris's mouse.
Well, if once you're done with it, I am a bit peckish, if that's okay.
It's a very large butterfly. Now that you're holding it, the underside of its wings have kind of like a black and white speckled pattern.
So we're talking very large, like hummingbird sized. I mean, not like hawk sized or anything, right?
No. It's big for a butter. It's big for a butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's it's not quite Luna moth size, but it's it's like
There we go. Okay.
it's like the size of like an African swallowtail, or there aren't really very many North American butterflies that are quite this big. It's a little bigger than a monarch,
Sure.
but it's not
Yeah,
quite
okay.
as big as a great Luna moth. So
Got it.
it's got a wing, it's like wingspan of like roughly your hands.
Okay. So I've got it, I'm holding it like this.
It's the odd thing about it is its scent. It's got a smell, and it almost smells like it smells enticing, almost like cooked. It smells almost like almost smells like roasted roasted tomatoes, or possibly roasted meat. It smells enticing.
I'm telling you guys, you got to get in on this.
Bacon fly.
Just a query. I will turn back to the rest of the butterflies and make sure that their behavior has not shifted.
They don't seem to be taking much mind of one of their compatriots as being held by the wings by Harmug. They're just fluttering around. You do see one of them flies into the downstream cave opening. And another one comes out, and another two come out of the other one.
So I'm gonna walk over to Theris and kind of dangle it over his mouth.
Yes, much obliged. That would be wonderful. Thank you, please. And I'll just take my little fingers and just, given your permission, just grab it. Nom. Just
So what I'm thinking is like you're gonna grab the body of it and the wings will come off, and I'll still be holding the wings. And then nom down the body, but I want to hold on to the wings.
We can compromise.
Yes, yeah.
I think they look like a fine seasoning if you powder those. Very well.
The butterfly is delicious. It's like tastes even better than that so breakfast the seer gave you this morning. It actually, are you damaged at the moment, or were you healed back to full?
I maxed out with that life elixir.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you. Eating one of these, if you can catch one, eating one of these butterflies heals 1d6 damage.
And there's several of these. I mean, this could be a pretty useful place to restock.
Yeah.
I assume it's an agility check.
It is
to
an
grab
agility.
These butterflies.
It is an agility check to grab the butterflies. Yes.
I will not humiliate myself.
And yeah, they you can't really grab them and save them for later, because they do have to be alive you do have to eat one alive in order for it to have the effect.
We'd have to find some kind of jar to keep them in if we were going to do that.
Correct.
So, so I look at the two little wings. And is there some kind of pattern on them or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, it's they're very dark in colored. They're a deep violet with kind of like a black striping pattern.
Got it. So I take them and I kind of give them a little fold, and I sort of stick them into my hair tucked behind my ear, so that I have like a little butterfly fan ornament over one of my ears.
It's like a stuck flower. It's like a stuck flower in your hair, but it's
exactly. It's like a flower stuck in my ear. Yes, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. So there's you can hear faint violin music coming from behind both of the open the open doors.
Any tune we recognize?
Let me double check.
Inagata Devita, for example.
Dun, 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 dun. Where are the violinists? Sorry, I forget which room these guys are in. It's yeah, it's like it's a mournful folk tune that you vaguely recognize but can't quite put your finger on. You know, you know you've heard this tune before, but you're not exactly sure where.
I will cross the stream and head over to peer through. Are there two separate doors or one door that has two door panels?
There are two separate doors. They're separated by 10 feet or so. They're both on the north wall. One is to the east, one is to the west.
Is the sound coming from both of them or from one of them?
It is coming from both of them.
I say, shall we go the left-hand path? Yes. All right. Hearing no objection, I will proceed.
Yeah, there is light streams through the door, much brighter light than this entry passage.
That way we go.
Right. Graft, you seem to forget yourself. Aren't we to be led by my dog?
Perhaps in the out of doors, but in the dungeon, and this is a dungeon, technically. I perhaps the dog and I will can share taking point.
Okay. So you look into the room, enter the room. This room is apparently it's a largish room. It's got a vaulted ceiling. There are several torches in sconces on the wall, providing good illumination. Smells like rotting food in here. When you enter the room, there is a very large dining table that's with perhaps more than a dozen chairs around it. It's one of those long. It's a long dining table, with like one chair at the head and one chair at the foot, and a number of chairs. It is. The table is set with mugs and plates and spoons, but no food or drink. Seated at the head of the table, kind of like hunched over, holding a large empty mug, is an old man with a long beard. He's wearing black robes that are decorated with like silver runes of various sorts. And he does not appear to notice you.
You said black robes, silver runes. Just want to make sure. So I think that I will step quickly before Harmug starts shoveling the silverware and plates into his bag. Given that my general thought is this cannot be good, and I'm going to step to put a blade through him, because black robes, silver runes, that is never a good sign.
Okay. He's just
Unless the
he's-
dog stops me.
Got it. Okay. Well, the man is he's like he's sitting at the edge. He's like holding this he's holding this cup, and he's like looking down at the table. Doesn't really seem to make any notice of you. So you're just kind of like walking right up to him and burying your blade in him.
I'd rephrase burying my blade at him to burying my blade in him.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. So yes,
burying your blade.
I wish to do this. I wish to spot the heart and drive it through before he can cast some horrific spell or curse upon us. I know that I'm going to regret this. I probably say that out loud.
Okay. Yeah, you plunge your sword like right into his. You like walk right up to him, and he doesn't make any chance. He doesn't make any chance to, or doesn't make any efforts to like stir. I think as you plunge your blade right through his chest, he stirs slightly. He looks you dead in the eye, and he just gasps, "Why?" And then he slumps over.
A narrow victory.
Sorry, I just saw the chat.
I will draw the blade out and wait to see what the others do.
You draw the blade out. Please make a DR12 agility check.
Agility? Sure, it's agility.
Yep, I'm sure it's agility.
Well, that ain't happening.
Okay, so you pull the blade out. As you pull the blade out, you were putting a little pressure on him, and the the body just kind of like flops backward unexpectedly, and it falls backward, and the chair falls backward with a loud clatter. Its knees bump, the knees of the dead man hit the edge of the table, and then there's a loud clatter as several of the glasses, as the plates clank, and a couple of the goblets fall over. A couple of them fall on the floor, making a loud clattering sound. But yeah, you got your sword back. It's bloody. The old man is now lying on the floor in an ever-expanding pool of blood. What do you do?
I immediately stride forward and start going through his pockets.
At that, awesome. And at that, two other things. There were two closed doors, one to the north, one to the east. Both of them were closed, and at that, you hear some voices coming from the door to the east, saying, "Hey, what was like? What was going on? Hey, what's going on in there?" It looks like the door is about to, it looks like the handle of the door is starting to turn. What do you do? Oh, you are, you are going through his pockets. You find, he's got a coin purse with 4 pieces of silver, and he also had a small pocket knife. Using the pocket knife as a weapon is only going to do 1d2 damage. It's just a little, like a pen knife. Doesn't seem to have much else. And now that you're looking over his silvery robes, these robes are threadbare.
So he's an old mage. That's even worse.
Well,
I looked at Theris and Grin as Harmug goes through the pockets and see what Theris and Grin are going to do, because that's going to determine what I do.
So when Graft looks over to Grin, Grin shakes his head and says, "Well, I'm sure that's exactly the sort of action that ancestral sword of yours has seen over the generations, so you've done your old folks proud."
Sorry, I'm just reading I'm now reading the description of the blade of your ancestors.
Yeah, I am gritting my teeth and mentally imagining that, yes, I think Theris hasn't mocked me yet. We can kill the others and get out of here.
Okay. So Harmug's looting the body. Theris, what are you doing? There's definitely the sound. There are voices on the other side of the door to the east, and it looks like someone is about to open it.
My eyes widen in abject panic, and I will dart to the door that is soon to be opened, and I will try to hug myself against the wall so that when the door opens, I am not readily visible. If the door opens into the room, I'll even try to get onto the side of the door so that it'll kind of give me some cover when it opens, if it's that sort of a thing.
Yeah, it does. It does open into the room. It's near the wall, so it's possible to like stand on that side. So when the door opens, as long as he doesn't swing it all the way, and as long as he doesn't swing it all the way open, and it would presumably like hit you rather than hit the wall. But yeah, you could certainly be behind the door as you do that.
I'll flatten myself against the wall.
Okay, fantastic. Because the door does indeed open. How many are there? I am going to roll a die to determine how many guards are in this room. Okay. So the door swings open, and Theris, you are now you're like behind the door, and a youngish man who's got kind of like long stringy hair and is wearing what's he got for armor? Yeah, wearing leather armor, kind of a yeah. So two guards. Yeah. So the guard opens it. He looks and he looks utterly shocked, like, "Who? What? You murderers!" He shouts. He then draws a sword to attack these interlopers who killed the old man that had been in this room. I think
Does he look like a cannibal?
Hard to say.
Strange. Okay, just curious.
There's no blood dripping off his chin or anything like that. Okay.
He doesn't start salivating when he sees us or anything. No.
Apparently not. Okay, I'm going to roll initiative to see which side goes first. That is a 5. The player characters will go first. So everyone can please roll d6 plus your agility modifier, and that will be the turn order. So Jim, you rolled a 3, and your agility is 0, so that's 3. Grin rolled 1. Plus 2 is also a 3.
I added in my modifier.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you? Oh, you mean in chat? Okay.
Yeah.
And
okay, there we are. Oh, it's in chat. There we are.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at chat. There we go.
David and I
Okay,
rolled at the
so
same time. I
Grin
thought that I
goes
had a 4, but I was wrong.
Grin goes first. Arma goes second.
So I was wrong, actually. I had seen David's roll, so I actually have a 3 as well.
Oh, okay. Who has the higher agility score?
Sequence.
I have agility 2.
Okay.
All right.
I guess you'll go before Harmug. Yeah. Grin. And awesome. Okay. So Grin, I think you have the I think you have initiative. What do you do?
All right, so Grin, caught off guard, having been so enwrapped in making snarky remarks towards Graft, shrieks as the door opens and ducks down on the west side of the table, and says, "Go for the legs, Barnabas!" And his dog zips under the table towards this guard's legs.
Okay. Awesome. So make an attack for Barnabas. It'll be a DR 12 strength check.
All right, got a 14.
Awesome. That does some damage. What do they have?
Will the armor that they have affect the die that I roll, or should I roll the d4?
Go ahead and roll go ahead and roll damage. Their armor will reduce that.
Okay, I got a 2.
Okay. And it was reduced by 2, so that's actually no damage.
All right.
Awesome. So, Harmug, you are next.
Yeah. I am going to. So this dude, like, he's just coming in like swinging a sword, or what's his? You're muted, Mike.
Sorry, I'm muted. So yeah, so he opened the door.
Mm-hmm.
He opened the door and sees like intruders and like the man who had been in this room lying dead. So he opened the door and immediately drew his sword and shouted, "Murderers!"
Got it. Yeah. So I take a couple of steps, and like I am maneuvering around to get the table between me and him.
Yep, easy.
And I huck my spear at him.
Fantastic. Yeah, go ahead and make an agility test. Normally it would be 12, but it is now but for you it's a 10.
Excellent. Let's say 13.
That's a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Cool. Spirit chunks into him. At the 6. That is only a 2.
Okay, he's got armor, so this is going to affect it. It's a D2, but there's no 4. There's no D2, so I'm going to roll a D4 and have it.
It's a coin flip, basically. Yeah.
Yep. So that is reduced by 2 points. So, yeah, you huck your spear at it. It definitely, it hits him. It hits him, but his armor deflects it. So it only succeeded in putting a bit of a gouge into his armor.
Jerkin or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay.
Graft. The camera turns to you. And Lowell, I think
I will take a swing. I will step 2, and I will say my apologies. But I will miss.
Yeah, he had his sword out, and as you go to attack him, he parries the blow with his sword. He then steps.
See, you're a more worthy foe than an old man sitting at a table.
he then steps in the room, sort of clearing the way for other guards to enter.
There are
and
more of them, I say.
Yes, you can see that now. There are two more guards in the other room, and it looks like they have also drawn their weapons and are about to enter. Theris, you are hiding behind the door. What do you do?
I will. Just curiosity, which side of the door did he step to? Like nearer to me or away from me?
He stepped away from you.
Very well. Well, either one is fine. I can work with either.
Trying to think. I'm just trying to picture. So this door is kind of like in the corner of the room. You were standing by the wall. It opened toward you. He stepped in. Yeah, he would have stepped away from the door in order to clear more room for his compatriots to come in, because it really wasn't. Because he couldn't really go much farther into the room because he was being blocked by a wretched royal swordsman.
Okay, so he stepped back into the room that he came from. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he stepped farther into the room. If you can imagine, it's kind of like the corner. He came in from here. You were standing up by the top of the corner, and he's like moving down farther into the room.
Got it. So in that case, as he moves sort of away from me, I will throw the door shut on the guards who would be coming in and make a savage leap onto him in an effort to get him right on the jugular with my teeth.
Got it. Okay, yeah, no roll for slamming the door shut. The door is now slammed shut. And yeah, go ahead and make a strength check.
Alrighty. That's a nat 20.
Nat 20, fantastic. Yeah, go ahead. So his armor so this reduces his armor, and your attack is doing double damage. So roll your damage and double it.
And it's just 1d6 and we're multiplying the result.
Yeah, 1d6. Yeah, 1d6, and we'll multiply that.
That's an 8 total.
Okay, and that also reduces his armor by 1 tier, and going from 1d2 goes down to 0. So you bypass his armor. You have you said you went through his jugular. Yeah, you have ripped out his throat. What does that look like?
Ooh,
he's dead.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just making sure that there's not a veil or anything on that. Yeah, I mean, I imagine there would be just the good old-fashioned arterial spray as I, tear my face from his throat and, spray of blood. And, he crumples to the floor, leaving me with my great mask on. And now I have this nice bit of, viscera dripping from my jowls as I stand before everybody else.
Holy moly, I say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I mean, I gotta say, the doom metal role playing is definitely it's definitely what it says on the can.
I draw. I know we're going to have the door come open in a moment, but I will draw out a handkerchief and I will carefully hand it to Theris.
Oh, I'm gonna leap over the table, knocking plates down and stuff like this and whatever, kicking a candlestick aside, and dart over to the door, throw my shoulder into it, jam my lockpicks into the lock, and just snap them off so that they can't get the door open.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I don't think that even needs a roll. I like that. You've locked the door. There's voices from the other.
I'll remove the lockpicks from my character sheet. I'm willing to give them up to get it so that they can't get through, or that they've got to batter the door down to get through it.
I was going to say that's pretty much what happens. You hear voices calling from the other side, like, hey, what, hey, and then you hear the sound of like a shoulder slamming against the door repeatedly.
And I lean up against the door and I say, No need for worry. There's nothing happening here. No dead old men. Everything is fine. Stay calm and await orders. Which will probably do nothing.
That's going to do nothing because they
other than show off that when I try to lie, I stutter.
Got it.
So.
They're not buying that one. So yeah, there's another door here. Leads to the north. What are y'all doing?
I say, well, that one's on me. so I'll open this next door.
Shall we push this nice, convenient banquet table against the door here?
Oh.
Theris, do that. And I say, and I turn to Grin and I say, quickly. And like I start stripping the armor, like pulling the guard's jerkin off so that we can pull it down over Grin to get him some protection.
Sure. I'm going to say, you're able to get the door. You're able to, so you're like knock. I mean, this is like one of those big banquet tables.
Yeah.
It's going to take two of you to like,
push.
it's going to take two of you to like tilt it over and like drag it over and lean it against the door. It takes not quite a minute to do that, but it's a fair amount of effort. But yeah, you've got this giant banquet table now leaning against the door. You can even like jam a couple of chairs behind it to like brace it. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to get this door open.
Does the guard's armor fit Grin well enough that we can equip him with armor?
It's going to take some time to get his armor off, but you think that would you could grab his armor. He's also got a sword.
Anything else in his pockets? I mean, I'm here. I may as well just check.
Might as well check his pockets,
while I'm stripping the armor off of him.
There's one other thing that he's got. The other thing that he's got is he's got a ring of keys.
Oh, ho, you say.
So, yes.
And that is definitely like, I give a wicked grin and hold them up and give them a little jangle. Ching, ching, ching. And then they disappear down a sleeve.
Grin, meanwhile, is forcing this blood-drenched jerkin down over himself. He's got, that where the guy's throat was ripped out, just blood down his chest as a nice reminder of Theris's good deed.
Yeah, and I think I'm helping you like yank it on and whatever and pulling the straps tight for you and everything from behind and everything and like.
Fantastic. Okay, so what do we do? So you've barricaded this room shut. There's definitely the sound of the guards that are trying to open the door. They're gonna get it open eventually. It takes like a couple of minutes to get the guard's armor off of him and onto you. And as they're doing it, the guards are still slamming the door shut. They think that you think that it's they've got it. They've bashed it enough that you think that they've got the lock undone or forced open, but now they're fighting against this extra unexpected weight of this giant banquet table. And again, they're going to get it eventually, but it's going to take them probably another it's going to take them another like 2 to 3 more minutes. So you got about so by the time you get the armor on, you've probably got another minute before they get through the door.
Did you say there was a fireplace? Did you say there was a fireplace here? Was that?
No, there's no fireplace.
No.
There are torches on the walls.
Oh, cool. grab 4 or 5 of those, like however many there are in the room, because we have torches of our own. I just go around, I grab them, and I just toss them at the base of that table.
Oh, you're trying to catch it on fire?
Yeah, so that'll just give them something else to worry about when they come through the door.
Okay, sure.
And like, I'm not waiting around to see whether it works. I'm just boom, 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 and like, you know, pointing at the door, let's go.
Okay, yeah, so Grin, you can now add, so you were putting on armor, you can add leather armor. Or who was putting on the armor?
It was
It was Grin? Okay. Yeah, it's leather armor. It's leather armor.
Blood drenched jerkin. Yep.
Yep, there we go. There we go. Okay, so you open the other door to the north.
Yeah,
It opens up to a corridor. It's
Is there a lock in the door that we open?
This door does not appear to have a lock. So it's a dark, and so this room is unlit. There is a light at the end of the corridor, but the corridor itself is not lit. It's a long, dark, cold corridor. There are paintings that line both walls.
We got torches.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll move along, probably giving the paintings a little bit of a scorch as we go past.
Got it. Who has the highest presence? Nobody. It's everyone.
I think we're 10 at 0.
Armor.
So my presence is 0, but because of my sneaky, I do get that bonus where any of those checks are 2 less than anyone else.
Got it. Why don't you go ahead and make a presence check?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
The number you are, so yeah, go ahead and make it's a DR 14 presence check, so that'll be a 12 for you.
Nope.
You got a 9. Okay.
No, whatever it is, I'm gonna.
Who's going first?
I'm gonna pass it by.
Got it. Who's going first?
In terms of order down the corridor?
Yeah, it's not quite. I mean, I guess you could really, if you want to really pack together, you could go 2 abreast, but it's, it's only, it's not super wide. It's only about, 8 feet wide or so. You're probably going to go single file.
All right. Graft and Barnabas leading the way, our brave champions.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So there is. So as you're going down the corridor, you in the middle of the corridor. So Grin basically, you take a step onto the floor, and as you step on it, you realize like, oh, that's odd. That sounds much more hollow than the rest of this corridor. And you fall into a pit trap. Let's see here.
Was that Grin or Graft that did that?
I'm sorry. Who's going first?
That would be me.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Two
characters whose name starts with Gur. I was getting confused.
Fair enough.
Shocking.
Okay.
The metal.
So yeah, Graf, you as you rush down the corridor, you trigger a pit trap. It opens. You fall 10 feet and land in a heap on a concrete, not concrete, on a stone floor. Please take a d6 damage and armor applies.
Okay. Are you rolling the damage?
Yeah, I'll roll it.
Okay.
I've been playing Apocalypse Engine games for so long. I keep forgetting that I need to roll dice from time to time.
Okay.
I'll roll it. Take 2 points of damage.
Well, my armor absorbs 4 of that.
All right, so take no damage.
Oof.
So yeah, there's a. Let me tell you where you end up. You are in a corridor. It's running east-west. It's running mostly east-west. Yeah. So yes, you are in a corridor. It's running east-west. Kind of narrow. It's kind of narrow. It's like maybe it's maybe only 3 feet wide here.
How far down is he?
I fell 10 feet.
All right. So I
And
kneel down.
and Graf, you hear voices coming. You hear voices coming from the west.
See, there's some people down here to the west.
Should we come down, or do you want to come back up?
Bring me back up. At least we know where the exit is then.
Very well. So I sprawl out, like full on my chest on the floor. And I kind of reach in under my scraggly, under my armor, right? And I pull out a length of rope, which is maybe a 1.5 feet or 2 feet long. But at the end of it, there is a noose attached to it. And I hold the clearly frayed, bitten through end of the rope where the noose is, and hold that end and hold it down to Graft so that he can grab the noose so that we can haul him up.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, there's no roll needed for this. You're able to scrabble up and get back into the corridor. And around the pit, there's it's 18 inches on either side near the wall. So now that you know it's there, you can easily avoid it.
I will dust myself off and I will say, you carry a noose. And then I continue down the corridor.
And I give a look I'm offended, and I say it has great sentimental value to me.
No judgment. No judgment.
Judgment might have been why you have the noose, but anyway.
That's more of a question than a judgment, but we'll move on.
Random encounter. Let me roll. Okay. So you head down the corridor. It does open up into a room. The downside is this room does not appear to have any exits. There are 3 oil lamps hanging from the ceiling, providing light. There is a rusty pump that comes up out of the floor. The end of the spigot of the pump is made of iron. It's made of black iron, and it is carved in the shape of. It's kind of hard to tell. It's a little stylized. Could be a bull with long horns, but it could be it could be a dragon maybe. Yeah, it's definitely got an animal head with horns. Its mouth is open, and some brownish rusty looking water is dripping out of it. There's a big handle next to it that you can use to pump water. There is so there's no doors out of here, but there is a hole in the wall. There's like a a square hole in the wall to the east, just like an open window. I don't know why you'd have a window in an underground room, but it's there. And you can also see that there is another trap. There's a trap door in the floor.
I will, since Harmug and I have taken quite the lead in these matters, we'll see what Theris and Grin will do, as I am taking down the oil lamps and setting them down carefully so we can carry them away with us.
Can you describe the so-called window again?
Yeah, there's a basically it's like a hole in the wall. It's like a square window. It's probably about it's probably about 2 feet by 2 feet. And there's a so through this window is coming more of the sound of that violin music, but it's much louder here. So it's like a solo violinist that's playing a mournful tune, and it's definitely coming through the window.
I forget what our light sourcing looks like. Do we have a torch that we can use to illuminate it?
You do have, I think you do have torches. There's also a couple of oil lamps that are hanging from chains in the wall. You could conceivably take one of those down and shine it in there.
I'll take an oil lamp because that's something that was already in the area, and I'll just kind of hold it up to that 2 by 2 kind of window, so to speak, and just kind of peer inside, see what is going on with it.
Room 9. So you look at, you look through the window. So there's like looking through the window overlooks like a very large natural cavern. It's probably at least 50 or 60 feet across. The floor of this cavern at first you think is kind of like black and smooth, but then as you look down, it's actually this it's like a you can see ripples in it. It's kind of like this like thick black liquid which pools on the floor. Coming up out of the center of this pool is a stone column. It's a big column. It's probably at least 5 feet in diameter. But it's it's carved like a Roman column. It's got a scroll top at the top. And at the top of the column, are a pair of skeletons, animated. One is playing the violin, and one is playing and there's kind of a platform at the top, and one of the skeletons is playing a bone white violin, while the other skeleton dances around it.
I do love to chew on bones, and there's a lot in that room. Okay. I'll look back at the team.
Also, looking out the window. Whatever's in that room smells very strongly of sulfur.
All right. Grin, I will probably ask you for your opinion on this, since you seem to have a hand in esoteric arcane matters. But before I do that, I'll turn the spotlight over to you.
So while Theris is going over to look out the window, Grin is very interested in this trap door. Given that we know there's a sub-level, he very cautiously, is there like a little ring for lifting it up or something, or any obvious mechanism?
Yeah, actually, it's there's yeah, it's a wooden trap door, and yeah, there's a metal ring that's there's a metal ring that's on a hinge that's recessed slightly, so you can easily like hook your finger under it, and yeah, it just like it's on a hinge. It just like opens right up, and there's a metal ladder bolted to the wall that goes down.
Cool. So yeah, I'll sort of take another one of the two remaining lanterns from Graft, who was pulling them down, and give a little nod of thanks, and hold it down into the darkness to see if I can peek around down there.
Let's see here. So just looking down, you can't really see much. You'd probably need to like climb down the ladder a bit. From what you can tell, it looks like it's a it looks like this ladder is going down a sort of like an alcove off of a much larger room. But as you open this, like the air that comes up out of this is hot, and it smells very strongly of sulfur and also of smoke. In fact, the rest of you can actually see the smoky vapors enter the room.
Well, friends, I think we've found a pit to the very hells themselves. I don't feel good about things for our prince that we seek.
I gesture to the.
And it's about that, and it's about then that you hear the sounds of booted feet approaching from the corridor to the south.
Is that the way we came in?
That's the way you came in.
That's probably the guards having gotten through our barrier that we left for them, I imagine.
That's pretty much exactly what's happening. Yes.
I look at Ferris, who was kind of cut off to see he was about to say something. So I look to see if he has some amazing insight that's going to save us.
There are skeletons in there, but we should probably go. Like we need, like I'm going to go. Goodbye, and I go,
okay.
and I start heading. I'm trying to think here. Is the trapdoor, does that descend like directly down, like a straight drop?
Yeah, it goes straight. Yeah, it goes straight down. There's a ladder bolted to the wall that you can climb down.
A ladder, perfect. I will descend the ladder. I'm very skittish.
Then I will follow the Rat King.
Everyone else going down the ladder?
Graft, catch my dog.
Is there a lock on the trapdoor at all?
There does not appear to be, but you could probably jury rig a bar. You could probably jury rig or jam it shut or something like that. I'd make you do an agility check just to make sure that it does that, but that'd only be a 12 normal test.
Yeah, if I can take a moment to, what would probably do it is that stupid pocket knife. I can just like jam it into the hinge or something like that, bust it off or something like that to try and get it to, yeah. So let me just I'm not gonna, if it doesn't work, I'm not gonna linger. I'm just gonna try and just to try and make it harder to follow us.
Got it, makes sense.
So I'll go ahead and knock that off.
So
and then
DR12, you've got but for you it'll be a 10.
Yeah, cool. Let's see what we got happening here.
As I descend the ladder,
that is a 19. I gum up the works.
Yep, absolutely. You're making these guards' lives much more difficult to follow you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt in the middle of the roll. I was just saying, as I descend the ladder, I'll call up to Grant. By the way, dude, can skeletons play the violin?
Is there a good skeletons play violin check to make?
Well, I mean, you are an esoteric hermit, so you know you know of such things.
Yeah.
Well, presumably, you've never encountered a skeleton that could do this, but you've heard tale of necromancers that have enchanted that have enchanted the skeletons of musicians to form like necromantic ghoulish orchestras that are like basically dark magically powered automatons that can play various pieces of music.
So while grunting and lowering myself down the ladder, I shout back, if you've seen the armies of the dead march, what surprise is it that they could play a fiddle? Ah.
Fantastic. Okay, so you are now in another room. I think I'm going to describe the room. Then I think I'm going to call another 5-minute break. Because we're a little more than, we're a bit more than halfway through this session. Okay, so you descend into this room. So this ladder goes down the wall of like a 10 by 10 corridor, a 10 by 10 alcove, that's in a larger room. And so you get to the bottom, and you step into the larger room. Let's see. Look at the map here. Let me get the description a little better. Okay, so yeah, there's a yeah, it looks like at one point this room must have been a forge of some sort. And now that you're on the ground down here, you see that the sort of like the center of this room. This looks like it had once been a large room that was excavated from a much larger natural cavern. Ceiling's pretty tall in here. It's like 50 or 60 feet tall. Again, natural cavern, but down here the walls have been worked, so they're more square. There's a forge here, in a that connects to a chimney that leads up into the presumably to the surface. At the same time, there are there are two large hearths that are lit. They're providing illumination. To the south of this room, it looks like the floor has fallen away, and it's like there's like the pool of this like thick black oily liquid coming up from the center of this pool to the south is that column that I described. It's about 30 feet tall, and you can see at the top of that there's a platform. There's a skeleton playing a violin of a now faster paced, jaunty but still melancholy tune, as a second skeleton is sort of like dancing around it. Chunks of meat hang from meat hooks hanging from the ceiling.
I might have led with the meat hooks.
Yeah, I just saw that. Well, I mean, you're looking around here.
BTW.
I was going to say you're looking around, so you're seeing the stuff that's that's at ground level, and you looked up at the skeletons and like that's weird, and then you look back and like, oh, meat hooks. There is a door to the east, and the door opens, and a 7-foot tall, hulking, a 7-foot tall, man who's built like a grizzly bear steps through. He looks at you, a wide a wide grin crosses his face and says, "Ah, welcome to dinner." And I think we're going to call a 5-minute break here. Still waiting for everyone to get back. So I guess I will tell you out of character. You guys took the most direct route to the boss fight.
When all else
Which is good
fails.
because I was going to say which is good because we've basically got you still haven't found your objective, and there's only about an hour left to the session, so that was actually convenient.
When all else fails, follow the spooky skeleton violin music.
Yeah. And we had to do something to try and top Theris's throat ripping earlier.
Yep.
What a picture. You could frame that.
I mean, this game is pretty metal, I just have to say.
Yeah, I think that everybody involved has really leaned into that in a very good way.
Yeah, I mean, this game is really playing like the cover of a death metal album. Okay, let me just make a couple notes about this guy. Right.
May I ask a systems question?
Absolutely.
What are omens?
That's a really good question.
Is that like a luck die?
Give me just a quick check to look that up.
Yeah.
I saw that on the character sheet and thought, oh, I need to look that up before the game starts. And then I never looked it up before the game starts. Let's see. Hit points, violence, rest, reduction, healing, powers, dodge, situational rules, character classes.
I only
Yeah,
just read.
one thing that this book does not have is an index. Which is
Suboptimal.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's I mean the book is just gorgeous, but it's not the best. Not the most well organized or easy to actually use. I'm not sure. I think the game has an SRD, which might be easy. Oh, okay. Omens. Here we are. I'm just going to read it. It's on page 38. Clearly the eyes of other powers are upon you, eldritch watchers, or the tangled fates of alternate worlds. Call it luck if you like. Every class gains a number of omens. When depleted, roll the class. Okay, so use omens too. Okay, so you can burn an omen to do any of the following. Deal max damage with one attack. Reroll a dice, yours or someone else's. Lower the damage dealt to you by d6. Neutralize a critical hit or a critical fumble. Or lower one test's DR by 4. So it's basically
That's gnarly.
It's basically a luck mechanic, and you can do it a number of times per day. You do it a number of times per day per that dice. Max damage.
So should we actually
lower damage by d6? Oh, okay. Lowell, was that you who added that?
That's what I asked. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh no, I asked. Somebody else added that in.
Oh, okay.
Should we roll for those now, or do you get like your initial max on character creation?
It was, for me, it was in the little character thing, so that's why I have 2.
It tells you.
Yeah.
It tells you when you generate it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it should be in the.
Yeah, it looks like everyone has a number.
And I added them all on the right there so that we have easy reference to them.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I knew that. I figured they were important. I meant to look them up, but Yeah, like I said earlier, this is the first time I've run this game as well. I mean, I read the book, which, but you know, sometimes you don't learn everything from just reading a role-playing game. Sometimes you have to play it.
Well, now we've got a cool boss fight to spend them all on.
Now we've got a cool boss fight. Oh yes, and the other thing about this this grizzly bear of a man, this 7-foot-tall guy, he is holding a flail, and the ball of the spiked ball at the end of the chain on his flail is glowing red, as if he'd been keeping it in one of those hearts. Yeah, I think it's time to roll for initiative. Let me do the initial roll to see which side goes first. And that is a 3. That means the bad guys go first. So everyone, please roll your agility plus a d6.
So that's in the chat.
Okay, awesome. So Grim and Harma gets a 5. Theris got a 4. And finally, Graft with a 2. Okay, so who was the first one that had been down? So Theris, you were the first one who was down the ladder. I'm just going to say, for sake of argument, that you were probably the one who like ventured into the room farthest, if that's okay. That makes sense?
Sure.
Okay. So you had to go farthest into the room to let the others come down. So you're probably closest to this tall grizzly bear of a man. He's he's wearing he's wearing leather he's wearing like leather overalls, but no shirt. And he is like heavily muscled. Let's see. He's also got several tattoos, crudely drawn, that are just kind of like covering his, covering his arm, covering like the front of his arms and like the front of his chest, but none on his back, as if he did the art himself. Okay. Okay, so this is round 1. He will go first. He is going to attempt. He like bounds forward and like swings his flail right at Theris's head. Please make a defense roll. That is going to be a DR. That's going to be a DR 12 agility check.
A nat 8 with modifiers. There's no way that's making it. Yeah, it's a yeah, yep. So
Okay.
7.
I will spend my first omen to let Theris reroll.
Oh, it's kind of you. Okay, try this again. A little bit worse this time.
Okay.
Was worth a try.
It was indeed.
It's appreciated.
It was indeed. Okay. Yeah, it's so the this red hot spiked ball slams you in the side of the head. What's it doing for damage? It only does one. It only does 1 point of damage. However, the pain is more from the searing heat of your sizzled flesh than it is of the than it is from the actual like strike. You now have a severe burn. Your agility tests are at -1 for the rest until you can heal it.
And I assume that stacks with my current -1.
Yes, it does.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, that was you know, and he laughs like, oh, so many friends for dinner. It's gonna be delicious. And it is your turn. Grin, you have initiative.
All right, so Grin takes his pack and slams it on the ground and lifts out this hefty tome with red liquid dripping out of the pages, slaps it onto the ground and flips it open and starts muttering in a croaking, froggy voice. So I'm using the Book of Boiling Blood to try to summon Berserker Slayers.
Fantastic. Okay, so your enemy must make a DR12 test to prevent this. So I am rolling, and I got an 18.
All right, well, that's time for me to spend an omen then. Reroll that sucker.
Okay. Okay, that is a fail. So yeah. So D2 Berserker Slayers appear.
All right. Rolling a D4. I got one of them. And then D6 to see how they react, or it reacts. 4. Whew.
They fight along, so the Berserker Slayer fights alongside you. Let me just get the info down on Berserker Slayers. It is on page 60 of the book.
So while this giant is trying to stop me, the way that the omen comes into play is whatever fell thing reached out and touched my brain when I lay dying in the crypt exerts its influence to protect as I complete the ritual.
Fantastic. Okay, so the Berserkers, they have 13 hit points. They have a -D2 armor. And please roll a d4 to determine what kind of weapon they are wielding.
4.
It is wielding a huge warhammer for d10 damage.
Nice. That was 12 HP?
They have 13 HP.
13.
They do a d10 damage and they have a -D2 armor.
All right.
So equal to all of us combined, literally.
Well, there was the 1 in 3rd chance that he was just going to turn around and knock my block off, so.
That's the downside of casting spells in this game. Fantastic. Okay. And what the hell? Let's see. Yeah. So I guess so. Yeah. So how does this Berserker appear from your Book of Boiling Blood? What does it look like?
So as I'm going through the ritual, the pages start to bubble and hiss, and then the binding of the book itself opens in this grotesque mockery of birth, and this thing lunges out, just trailing blood and viscera behind it as it hefts its warhammer.
Fantastic. Oh, I just followed Jim's link. Fantastic.
That's all the metal riffs we need.
Nice.
Nice. If we were playing on Roll20, there's a way to pipe music through. There's a way to pipe music through to everyone. Although I don't like that. I certainly don't like doing that when we're recording. It makes some people not able to follow the dialogue as well. But that's awesome. Thank you, Jim. Okay, so very cool. So yeah, I'm going to say that. Yeah, I'm going to say that you can go ahead and send your Berserker Slayer in.
All right. So I'll have him roll for the attack.
Have him roll for an attack.
Miss.
Okay. So Harmug, what are you doing against this hulking figure with a giant flail?
Nothing. I'm going to just like scuttle around the room and start to climb that column that the two skeleton that has the one skeleton playing the violin and the other one is dancing around.
Got it. The pillar is coming out of the center of that like pool of thick black sludge. So in order to get to it, you're going to need to enter the pool.
Oh, no, I don't think I do. I think I take my noose and I jump and I use the end of the noose to hook one of those hooks and then haul myself up to it, and I'm gonna across the hooks hanging from the ceiling to get to the pillar without having to wade through the sludge.
Fantastic. I love it. I think that is going to be I think that's going to be a difficult maneuver. So the normal DR would be 14. So for you, that drops to 12.
Yeah. So I think that being the case, what I've got two of these things here that I can use to what do we call them? Omens. Too many tabs is what I got. I'm going to use one of my omens here. Because I've got two of them. Yes. I'm going to use one of my omens to roll a d4 to reduce the difficulty of this check.
Oh, nice.
So let's see what happens with that. Yeah, it's just a 1. So, but it's basically a +1 bonus to my roll. So
there you go.
It was a 14, lowered it to a 12. I need an 11. Sounds like, right?
Yep, exactly. And you got it.
Fucking A, man.
Good use of that.
oh, OSR. All right. Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay, yeah, you've made it across to the you made it across to the platform on which the skeleton fiddler and the skeleton dancer were dancing.
Yeah.
And as soon as you land on the platform, the violinist stops fiddling and the dancer stops dancing, and they both turn to you, and they are going to move into attack.
Okay.
But we'll do that. We'll do that on the monster's turn. Fantastic. Theris, what are you doing?
I'm getting revenge. I am going to charge at him and see. I envision him as being a bit taller than I am, so I might not be able to.
He's 7 feet tall.
Right. I probably can't exactly get quite at the neck, but I bet I can take a piece out of his chest or his bicep and get a nice tender sliver that way. So I will take a crack at it. That is a nat 1.
Ooh, I get to roll on the fumble tape. Oh, let's see here.
You can burn an omen to undo that crit.
That's true.
Oh, I could I only have 1 omen. I will pause and save it for now. If it comes down to it, I'll burn the omen. I'm kind of curious to see what the heck this table is too, just to see what the game can do.
Hold on. I know there's a fumble table in here somewhere. Actually, I'm looking at the rules summary. So a fumble natural 1 is your weapon breaks or is lost. How do you lose your teeth?
Just to remind you, there's a
dental
line
horror.
on dental horror.
Yeah. I'm going to say it this way. So you bite down on this guy, and you realize that this guy's skin is like as tough as leather armor, and
Oh yeah, the bite's just not going to work.
Teeth just don't work on him.
your teeth aren't going to work. Your teeth aren't powerful enough to get through this guy's flesh.
All right, Plan B coming up.
Okay, and Graft, what are you doing?
I'm going to unmute. I am going to step forward and attempt to tank as best I can for my companions, especially Theris, who is going to get all tore up here. And I'm gonna lay out with my sword and give it everything I got. And that is just enough, I believe.
Yeah, 12 will do it. Roll your damage.
No, I spend my omen to do max damage, and that's my last omen.
Okay.
So that will be 7 points of damage.
All right.
I'm gonna bring it down, and I'm gonna bury it in his shoulder and try and push down before I'm forced back.
Okay, he does have armor, so let me roll that. Okay. That was 7 you did?
Yep.
Okay, I think that is all of the good guys. We are now on round 2. I think I will keep the camera on. I think I'll keep the camera here. So now that you have actually injured him, he howls in pain and surprise, and he sends that flail your way. Please make a defense roll. Roll on agility. You're looking for a 12. And that's you, Graft.
Yes. My agility
Okay.
modifier is a -1. So it just squeaks me down to getting this flail upside my head.
Yeah, you got a flail upside the head.
That is okay.
But again, it's a glancing blow at best. You take 1 point of damage, but the pain of this searing hot flail head is like causes an incredibly painful burn. You are at -1 on agility checks until your next healed to full.
My armor does absorb damage, but yeah, I marked that. I'm like, yeah. Ooh. It's a little undignified when I say that too.
And the skeletons. Didn't give stats. It said refer to a page in the book. Refer to a page in the book.
Here, I thought they'd just keep dancing.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to be. Discouraged. didn't want to be disturbed. Yeah. So the one that was one that was dancing like goes up to you and slashes at you. Please make a defense check.
So that would normally be
It would normally be a 12.
For me, it's a 10.
So for you, it's
because
10.
I'm a slippery little bastard. All right, let me see. So, boom. 13.
He misses. The other skeleton, who has the bone white fiddle, locks its empty eye sockets on you and plays this horrifically dissonant note that sounds almost like fingernails down a chalkboard. Crossed with something. That sound crossed with the sounds of almost someone doing something unspeakable to a cat.
Sure.
So please make a. So this is going to be a presence check, DR12.
I also get those are also reduced by 2.
Oh, fantastic! This is
basically,
it's a defense check, but it's a defense on presence instead of
sure
instead of agility.
15.
Nice. Yeah, it's
grit my teeth and
yeah, you feel a wave of pain through you as you feel your bones resonate, but not terribly badly. So you do not start bleeding out of your ears.
Excellent.
That would and that. And that at that so the 7-foot tall guy, he's got the flail, and he's got the two-handed flail. He takes one hand off, takes his right hand off, sticks him in his mouth, and he whistles the way a modern person would whistle to try to hail a cab. And then out from the sludge, there's a ripple from this thick black sludge. A grotesque worm-like creature raises its it's disgusting. Has anyone ever seen pictures of a bobbit worm? It's an actual creature. They're a horrific sea creature. Let's put it that way.
I'm gonna regret this, but oh my god,
that's basically what it looks like. But imagine if it was 30 feet long. It lashes out at Graft. So it's raises out of this sludge. It's dripping black goo off of it. It's got this horrific mandible mouth parts. It does not appear to have any eyes, but it just strikes like a snake at Graft. Please make a defense check. DR12.
Did you say Graft?
Graft, yes.
Oh, okay. I was all waiting to sing the funeral dirge of Harmug there.
Nope.
But
it is attacking. The room you're in is at the edge of this pool, and it's attacking you guys. It does not appear to be. paying Harmug any
16.
mind. 16. Okay.
Even with all my penalties, I am fine.
Okay. Yeah. It misses, and this thing is horrific. And that is the monsters. We are now starting round 3. Grin, you are up. Or
So
you
Grin
and your dog and your berserker are up.
Yeah. So at this point, the berserker's out of the book. Grin slams the book shut and, still rummaging through his pack, pulls out a little flask and shouts, "Back to the depths, beast!" and throws it at the base of the giant sludge worm. So that's my bomb that I have for 1d10 damage if I can hit.
Nice.
I was gonna offer to throw it up to Harmog, but I think he'll be fine. We've got this guy to deal with. So would that be a ranged attack?
That'll be a ranged attack, yes.
Okay.
So, I guess so. That would be an agility check.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
see.
I'm sorry. It's a presence check. Ranged is presence.
Presence check. Okay, cool. So I've got no modifier on that. Great. Here we go.
Nice.
19.
Nice. Yeah, direct hit. Boom. What does that look like?
I'm gonna spend.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
this
is not. Regardless of what you roll on damage, this is not going to be enough to kill it.
That's fine. I'm gonna spend an omen to do the max 10 damage.
Nice.
So it's a nice direct hit. Like,
Can I
Grin?
Can I pose?
Like,
can I pose something?
yeah.
You
Go
throw
for
it
it.
at it, and it's you throw it at it as it's it's rearing up, and it's and it opens its mouth to like let out this like blood curdling screech, and
Yep.
it bites the thing out of the air, and then it goes boom in its mouth.
Classic. Love it. So yeah, Grin winds up, squints one eye, and just with a grunt throws it, and the thing catches it and just.
Nice. I'm just going to say that since you spent an omen, and since for fictional purposes, I'm going to say that its armor does not apply. Okay. You also have a berserker, and you also have your dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave poor Barnabas out of this. I don't want him to get too beat up. But the berserker is expendable. So let's see. He had missed in the first swing, so he follows through and then reels back and tries to get the giant on the way back with the other side of his hammer.
Okay.
Only a 10. No good. This guy, he's just there to be a meat shield.
There we go.
Being born out of a book is disorienting.
Got it. So Harmog, you are on top of this pillar with these two skeletons. What do you do?
Yeah, one of them slashed at me. The other one did his like crazy violin thing. So I'm just gonna kind of shove away the one that came slashing at me. I'm just gonna run right at the one with the violin, and I want to just plow into him and take us both over the side into the muck.
Awesome.
Hopefully with him on the bottom to, hit first.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to call that a strength check.
Which I'm not great at, but I'll give it a shot.
So
I'm
going to call that a standard attack. So yeah, go ahead. That'll be a 12.
So regular 12. Now my strength is at -1. Does that give me a -1 on the check as well?
It does give you -1 to your check.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm looking for a 13 here, which I did not get even close to. Let me go ahead. I'll go ahead and spend my last omen here for the reroll.
Okay.
Boom! Did it.
Nice. Okay. You barrel into the skeletal fiddler. It does not seem to have expected that. And you both go. You both like fall off the end of the. You fall off the end of the end of the platform. You tumble about 30 feet down into the muck. Let's see what the muck does. Give me just a moment. Okay, you were not expecting this, but this black sludge is very, very hot.
I was not expecting that. Crap.
So test toughness DR8.
Okay, so my toughness is at 0, so it's a regular, just an 8. With a 19, I will pass that check.
Yep, you do not take damage from the sludge.
Did I bust the skeleton up? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so skeletons don't swim very easily. No, the skeleton seems to sink to the bottom of sinks to the bottom of the pit and doesn't seem to be bothering you anymore. Oh, and by the way, and you glance up and the other skeleton resumes dancing to no. Oh, that's the other thing. The sound of the music obviously ended once the violinist stopped playing, and the other skeleton just starts dancing to a tune that presumably only it can hear.
Would you let me make a pickpocket roll to see if I can snatch that violin before it disappears beneath the muck?
100%.
All right. So normally to pickpocket something, my filthy fingersmith, your snaky little digits get into pockets and pick locks with a DR8 agility test. But of course, my agility tests are all reduced by 2. So let's see how I do here. That's a 10. Well,
yep. You now have a bone white skeleton. You now have a bone white violin.
Excellent. Totally worth it.
Fantastic. Theris, what are you doing?
I think in the interest of trying to stay consistent with the game's intended mechanics, even though my teeth are still functional, I will try to avoid using my teeth for as much of the remainder of the fight as possible. So I will say that Theris is utterly enraged by this hulking, mammoth of a man before him. And so he will pull his femur, break off half of it like he's opening a can or something, and then just try to stab the sharpened edge into this guy. It's only for a D4, but I have to send a message.
Awesome.
So that's what we're doing. Another nat 20.
Fantastic.
Can I use my omen to max damage on a crit? So I do 8?
I don't see why not. Go for it.
I will do that.
Yes, you can. That's textbook OSR play right there.
Yep, 100%.
Oh, we don't have a cool table we get to roll on, do we?
Alas, no. Yeah, there's no cool
Double
table.
is fine.
That's awesome. And he does not roll well in his armor. Yeah, you stab him real good with this broken off jagged femur. What does that look like?
This time I think it's personal, so I'm going for the throat. I might not get the jugular if he's still up, but I might get him kind of between, the meaty part of your shoulder blade and his neck, kind of like in there somewhere. But I just kind of stick it, like I'm giving a vaccine or a shot or something.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's He howls in pain. And Graf, I think we are back to you. And you're muted.
You're muted.
The status of the worm and the status of the 7 foot tall bear of a man, is the worm down or just shaken? Now you're muted.
Now I'm muted. The worm is not down. The worm looked like it was stunned slightly, but it does seem to be like about to strike at somebody.
Well,
the big guy, he is now enraged. He is bleeding from he's bleeding from 2 wounds.
yeah, let's lay the sword again into the big guy if I can. I will take that swing there. I hit for 6 points of damage.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a very solid hit. He is he's not down, but it looks like he is now mortally wounded. What do you what does this look? So what does it look like?
I think that he staggers back from the bone wound to the femur, and I think that is exactly where I lay my blade into him. I drive it in there to open it up even more, and essentially it's less swordplay than it is now butchery, trying to bring this person down.
Got it. Okay, it is now the monster's turn. I am going to start with I'm gonna start with the big guy. He he takes one hand off the flail, he puts his arm in the air, with and he gestures with his hand oddly, and he speaks words that don't sound like could be made from a human voice. They're like low, and if this were the low budget fantasy movie, it would definitely the dialogue would have been done in an echo chamber. Okay. So let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3. So we've got 5. We've got 5 combatants. So he utters these words, and like out of the end of his flail, lightning crackles, and 2 bolts of lightning shoot out of it. The first one targets the barbarian, and the second targets Graf.
Agility check?
What's that?
Is there an agility check to do dodge, or is it an auto hit?
These are auto hits.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a power. The barbarian takes 1 point. Armor does not apply to this. The barbarian takes 1 point of damage, and Graf takes 4. And Lowell, you're muted.
I say, someone called the loot, and I fall to the ground, dead.
Ooh. You only had 3 points. Ouch.
I think you actually make a roll.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a broken chart
Okay.
there. Yeah.
1 in 4
Alright.
chance that we're dead.
Okay. So, so so I do fall unconscious, and well, I'm actually at -1.
Yeah, you can't really have you can't have negative hit points. If you're brought
Okay.
to 0, roll on the broken table.
Okay. So I will drop for some rounds here. Oh, only 1 round.
Okay.
But we'll see my bloodied state when I get back up. Finish him, Theris. Finish him.
And Harmag,
me.
You are up.
I'm
So
good.
you're still in the pool. You're still in the pool of sludge.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard
you
to
know.
swim in, but it's hard to swim in, but it's possible.
Yeah, I would like to get out of the pool of sludge, please. That is my what my efforts are focused on right now.
Got it. So in the pool of sludge, there's basically 3 directions you can go. If you go north to the room where your friends are fighting, you can go east to another landing that's got it's got a it's another landing that's it's got a cobbled floor, and there is a black stone statue of a figure sitting on a throne holding the skull of a goat.
Okay.
And also you could also head south, and to the south is again more of a natural cave wall, and it looks like there are like gems glittering, like a few gems that are like glittering on the walls.
You had to say gems glittering on the walls, didn't you? I look back at my friends. They seem to have matters in hand. I swim to the south.
Fantastic. So you're swimming through that. Please make another. See, swimming through the sludge has a rule. For that. Yeah, make another DR8 toughness check.
Ugh!
Okay.
That's not good. I rolled a 1.
Okay. Doesn't say what happens if you roll a 1, but it's OSR, so I'm going to say you're going to take double damage from the. You're going to take double damage from the sludge.
Pretty legit.
So take 2 points of damage from the sludge.
Does my armor apply to it?
Armor does not apply to this.
Yeesh. Okay. That's I'm seared. It's probably getting in my nose and stuff like this, but I do manage to I am alive as I scramble out of it on that place to the south.
Yeah, there are beautiful green, pink, violet gems that are like coming out of the natural. There's probably there are 2d6 of them. There are a whopping 2 gems that are sticking out of the wall that are easy to come by. There are a lot of there are small ones, but yeah, so you'll be able to. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. Anyway, well, we can get to you.
Yeah, whatever.
Looting
Like getting through the sludge and like climbing, gasping onto that ledge is probably enough of an action for now.
Got it. And I just looked at the time, and we're getting low on it. So, Theris, what are you up to?
Is the big guy you say he was mortally wounded? What's his status?
Yeah, it looks like he's still up. He's still dangerous, but it doesn't look like he's going to be for much longer.
Okay.
I.e., he's got 2 hit points.
Okay, got it. I will try to finish him off with the femur then.
Okay.
No dice.
Got it.
Did Grin? Did you go this round? I don't think so.
Oh no, maybe
did I-
not.
Did I
Yeah,
skip,
you
did
do.
I skip
Yeah,
you?
you should. Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Oops.
No, that would, because we went to Harmug because he was on the pillar. I think that might have
Oh,
skipped
yeah,
over
yeah,
Bryn.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
let's-
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
let that barbarian take a swing.
Got
I
it.
was so wrapped up in the fun shenanigans. All right. Yeah. So. Ooh. Okay. So we haven't used a scroll yet. So continuing to zip through his bag of tricks, Grin pulls out the Enochian syntax, and with guttural speech, he recites the scroll. So I need to make a DR12 presence check.
Yep.
I'm gonna spend an omen to reduce the DR by 4. So
Okay.
just be DR 8. Here goes nothing. Ah, failure.
Ooh,
Are you able to spend 2 omens in one action, or just?
I don't see why not.
All right, I'm gonna re-roll that die. There we go. All right, so spitting up this glob of black phlegm, Grin looks at the worm and says, "Betray your master." So that's Grin's action, and then the Berserker, well, I guess this might come to bite me in the ass, but the Berserker's going to try to hit the bear of a man as well.
Okay. Why don't you roll the? Go ahead and roll the barbarian or
Yep.
the berserker.
Failure, 7.
This berserker hasn't been particularly useful, has he? But
He's just arm candy.
He sucked
Got
up a lightning. He sucked up a lightning bolt.
that is
There you
true.
go.
That was
That is
extremely
true.
useful.
Well, the other thing, I was going to roll randomly on who the worm was going to attack next, and he was a combatant, so it was a chance he was going to attack him. But you just
True.
commanded the worm to attack its master. So yes, why don't you go ahead and roll a strength check for the worm?
All right, here we go. 16.
Fantastic. Oops, wrong dice. I'm not even going to roll it. So because so the worm, so the worm under your mystical power lashes out at its master. It's disgusting, like razor sharp mandibles extend, and it literally bites the man's head clean off. The worm then swallows it, rears up, screeches, and then sinks down into the sludge. You have defeated the Fletcher, the Cannibal Warlock.
Grin rushes over to Graft's side and looks up to Theris. Do you have any more of that elixir?
I got 2 doses left, and I'll toss you the vial.
So we're basically out of time here, folks. But you have defeated the boss monster. I'll just narrate the end. You do find what was his name? Alden, the son of the Shadow King, who does not want to leave, even though you show him the writ. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to leave. So there is a struggle. One of you knocks him on the back of the head with a sap or something like that, knocking him out. You drag him out. You return to your rendezvous point. The royal carriage appears, gathers you all up. He comes to on the way back to the palace of the Shadow King, but you've deftly tied him up, so he does not make much of an escape. You return to the palace, hand over a kicking and screaming Prince Alden, and you are all given proclamations of freedom, and also given an award of 250 silver pieces each. And that was Mörk Borg, Rot Black Sludge. I had a blast. Thank you, everyone. This was fun. Is everyone okay with me posting the recording of this video on YouTube and linking it from the Gauntlet? Awesome. Thanks, folks. You know, we've got like 5 minutes left. Let's do stars and wishes. Stars, you guys all leaned into this like really hard. This was fantastic. I love these characters. I would love to see more of what shenanigans these characters get up to in the future. This game was a joy. I haven't played an OSR game in quite a while, you know, I think everyone leaned very hard into the genre, and this was you know, this was a whole lot of heavy metal fun. So awesome to everyone. Wishes, yeah, my biggest wish is you know, I'd love to see more of what these characters could come up to in the future. I don't know if we will ever get a chance to, but you know, this is definitely one of those end it wanting more. So thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, if only there was some sort of calendar that you could put other events on.
I know. Yeah, I may have to run more. I may have to run a Mörk Borg series. This is way too much fun.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any closing comments before I hit end on the recording?
I liked the random generator, and I thought that was a really good way to do this. It made for really interesting characters. I mean, these are very basic characters, but I loved everybody's personality. I loved Theris, the femur, the moment of the throat rip out. I thought Grin was great with the dog, and what brilliant use of the tools at the end. Harmug running off and getting to his own set of trouble there was really good. I'm actually, at first I thought it was going to be a wish that I wish we'd known about the omens, but I'm actually glad we didn't know about it until the last scene, because then we kept a hold of that resource. So yeah, I kind of dug it.
Yeah, I really appreciated, Lowell, you leaning into the friendly antagonism between Graft and Grin, and also I loved this system and the way that the rules were really truly in, like, the OSR proclaims, you know, often that things are stripped back for rulings over rules. And this really leaned into that in a great way. And I don't know how much of that is the system versus Mike just really doing a great job with it, but it was so delightful and made me excited to run things like this and Troika after coming off of Labyrinth Lord, which has more of, you know, the cruft from BE D&D. This was just great.
Thank you.
And for my part, I was just gonna say, yeah, characterization was awesome from everybody. It was like a good movie or a good TV series in that it got better as time went on. That's the way that I can tell if a game is fun, is if it gets more fun as it goes on instead of more tiring. And this was more fun as it went on. So big credit to everybody for that. Mike especially, I thought you did a very good job of setting the atmosphere, tone, and flavor. This was a good old, you know, heavy metal kind of time, and I really liked the system. So thank you for running.
Thanks. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, and props for the letting us just, you know, like when OSR really sings, like, it's because, like, you can use the environment, take whatever's there, do weird stuff with it that's not written into the module and things like that, right? It's like, you know, like, we started with these incredibly limited resources. Like right from the jump, the thing where I knew, oh, we're going to be okay, this is going to be fun, is when we got there and you're like, there's a bunch of heads on spears. And I'm like, well, shit, a spear is better than this bone that I'm carrying around. Can we just take the spears? And you're like, absolutely, you can do that. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to be good. So I love that, you know, and just using environmental stuff was just really fun.
Well, thank you, folks. I found this game a joy. I really enjoyed this. So So thanks everyone. I hope I get to play with you all at some point in the future. This is really a blast. So thank you everyone. I am going to hit end on the recording, and I hope I see you all around at some point in the future. Thanks folks.